Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook Library, a sanctuary of stories where fan fictions come alive, where ancient legends echo from the East and Western worlds awaken with wonder. Settle in. Your journey begins now.
Game of Thrones. I only want to enjoy life, but my little sister wants me to be king. Chapter 41 inches. Thank you so much for helping us, stranger. I smile at him and say, it is not a problem. I am glad that I arrived here just in time. Me too, stranger. Me too. I don't know what will happen to us if you are just a minute late. Anyway, my name is Lurda. What is yours? My name is Viserys, and I am a traveler. Viserys. That is a strange name. You must be coming from a distant land. What took you to this place, stranger? We walk to the center of the village, where we sit on a chair next to a well. I came here in search of a map. Map? What kind of map? We have a cartographer in our village. He is the oldest one here. He is also a former traveler. Maybe he has a map you need. Truly. Then, do you guys have a map that will lead me to trial? I must do a trial before I can return to my village. To my surprise, he looks at me with pity and sadness. What kind of person is cruel enough to order you to go to that place? You know that place, Lurda. I know. That place is the place where many of our villagers die and are buried. The trial chamber is where the old warriors of our people want to die with glory. Trial chamber. Is that the name of the place? That must be it. Do you have a map of this location? I need to beat the trial and get something from this trial. What do you need? Maybe we have that item you need. A mace. Ah, that. And his expression changed once again. If before it was a pity, now it is a downright expression you use for someone who will die soon. It is a pity, with an overwhelming sadness following that gaze. They truly want you to die, huh? Even with overwhelming odds, I will try. Even the chance of you dying is over 90%. Yes, even then, I need to return and protect the people I love and care for. After I say that, the people who hear our conversation look at me in a new light. The pity is still there, but there is now an awe there. I see. Very well. Lurda gets up and says, you do not need the map for that. Do you see the mountain over that? I look at the mountain not too far away from the village and nod my head. Yes, I can see it. That is the location of the trial chamber. Our ancestors created an entrance to the trial chamber. Will a monster come out of that place? No. The chamber will not release the monster it spawns. We don't know the reason for that place, but our ancestor says that anyone who beat the trial will be granted riches and power. While many people were afraid of the chamber going rogue and spawning monsters, it never did. All the monsters it spawns will only appear once you enter the trial room. Lurda smiles and says, anyway, we should celebrate first. I will tell you about the trial chamber tonight. For now, we need to celebrate our victory against the cursed humans. Yeah, I smile a little as the others cheer. The celebration is rather humble, at least compared to the celebration back in the real world. The food consists of roasted chicken, roasted pork chop, rabbit stew, and bread. The dessert is pumpkin pie, and the drink is milk and apple juice. The last one is the only consumable thing that is not from Minecraft. I will share some of my food that is not native to this world with them, if not for the fear of not having enough food for my fight. I will do that after I finish this trial chamber thing. How is the celebration, Viserys? I look to the side and smile at Lurda. It is great. I love stew and pumpkin pie. Good. My wife makes the pie, you know. Really? Then please tell her that I enjoy her pie greatly. I will. He sits next to me, takes a sip of his juice and says, let's talk about the trial chamber. I promise you that, right? Yeah. Thank you for helping me.
Lurda. Think
of it, my friend. You are the hero of our village, and this is the least I can do for you. I know I cannot stop you from entering that place, so I will make sure you come out alive. After saying that, he placed 5 vials full of black liquid on the table. To get the material to make a mace, you need these bottles. We call those things cursed liquid. When someone drinks this thing, it will notify the cursed human sorcerer of the location of the drinker. So, like a bad omen. Something like that. A bottled bad omen effect. It is useful for anyone who wants 100% Minecraft, but it is dangerous to drink in this world. I don't want a raid on my farm, after all. However, there is another effect of these liquids. They will awaken the most challenging trial, where the chamber will summon the strongest monsters in large numbers. However, the chamber will compensate you with more rewards. You need to beat 7 trials and reach the deepest floor where the heavy core, the main ingredient of a mace, is located. The founder of this village once had the mace after completing the trial. It is a shame the mace is gone after a long time of use. I see. What about the monsters? The Bogged is a skeleton that grows from the swamp. Their arrows were coated with poison. Watch out for them. The Stray is another skeleton, but they grow in cold biomes, and their arrows are so cold your movement will be slow after you get hit by their arrows. The Breeze is a monster made of wind. No arrow can pierce it, but your sword can hit its true body. Careful of their power as they can throw you so high and let you fall. I know the Stray because I encountered them once in the game, but I never knew of the Bogged and the Breeze. Are they the new mob? Ugh. I need to be extra careful in this fight. Anything else? Other than those 3, there are also other monsters like regular skeletons, zombies, and slimes. Oh, I almost forget about the spider and the cave spider. Be careful with cave spiders. They are venomous, and their venom is not pleasant. I once got bitten, and it felt like my body got burned. I know that one. Cave spider is nasty. When I see one, I immediately pour lava to kill it. I see. I will be careful, Lerda. Thank you for this information. Think of it, my friend. Just make sure you come back whole, and we are even. I smile at him and say, I will. Chapter 42. I look at the massive entrance in front of me. The entire thing is made of copper block and brick. I really want to mine all the copper blocks, but I would rather not do it. This is a sacred place for the people back in the village, and I don't want to offend them or anything by taking all the copper blocks. I can take out the 5 vials Lerda gives to me and drink them one by one. I can feel something ominous wash over my body, a sensation akin to 1,000 icy fingers crawling up my spine, as I shudder at the cold feeling it gives. I take a deep breath and step inside the underground chamber. I walk inside the gateway, but as I step inside the gateway, a wall appears that prevents me from running away. I still can dig through it, but I will do that when I don't have any more choices than running away. However, what caught my attention was the cold wind blowing past me, and I could see 2 boxes at the end of the rooms. Are those monster spawners? It looks like it. I can see a pulsating liquid inside the block. It looks like a blob made of oil, but it pulsates like a heart. Ew. That's gross. As I get close, the spawner shines with purple light. A second later, I can see 10 skeletons appear from the spawner on the left, and 12 zombies appear from the spawner on the right. However, they are different from regular zombies and skeletons. How the hell are they wearing diamond armor? Shit. I quickly dodge to the left and see flaming arrows fly past me. Flame enchantment. I continue to dodge left and right as the skeletons fire their arrows at me. I make sure to dash toward the spawner, and when I arrive in the corner of the room near the spawner, I take out my building blocks and create a small bunker in the corner of the room. I put some torches around and take out my bow. I destroy one of the cobblestones and aim at the skeletons. I let the arrow fly and hit the target. I shoot the skeleton 2 more times before the zombies appear in front of the hole in my bunker. I take out a bucket of lava from my inventory, pour it above my bunker, and watch the zombies burn before closing the hole. I wait for a few seconds as I hear the screaming from the zombies outside my bunker. When I cannot hear them, I make a hole in the side of my bunker and put the lava back into my bucket before dashing forward at the skeletons near me. I jump at the skeleton and swing my sword. With a smite enchantment in my sword, the skeleton dies in 1 hit. I always keep all kinds of swords in my inventory for different mobs. My go-to sword is the one with sharpness, but when I explore a mine shack, I will use the one with Bane of Arthropods. I raise my shield and block the incoming arrows, but for some reason, it still combusts, and I need to get away from the arrow before it can burn me. I dash toward the next skeleton with my shield protecting me from the barrage of arrows, jump at the skeleton, and then swing my sword. I jump each time I attack because it inflicts more damage, just like in the game. It usually kills skeletons in 1 hit using my smite sword, but the one in front of me is not dead from a single hit. I dodge the incoming attack from the skeleton in front of me and swing my sword, killing it. As expected of diamond armors. It takes 2 hits. I shake my head and dash to the next skeletons. I continue to dash and attack all the skeletons in sight. After a few minutes of fighting, I release a sigh as I defeat all the mobs, which is weird. In the game, the spawner will continue to spawn more monsters before I destroy the spawner or put torches around it. Oh well, I will take it. I walk toward the spawner and start to break it with my pickaxe. However, after 3 seconds of hitting the spawner, I notice that the block is unbreakable, and before I can do anything, the 2 spawners spawn another wave of mobs. Oh, for fuck's sake. I pant on the ground as I am just done with the 5th wave of mobs. What was that? The spawner cannot be destroyed. Each time it spawns mobs, the number of them increases. What makes matters worse is that they get stronger each time a new wave of monsters appears. Now, my jumping attack cannot kill them in 2 attacks. By the end of the last fight, I needed to stab the skeletons 20 times before they died. Yeah, a single skeleton needs 20 hits before it dies from a sword with smite enchantment in it. Even with the help of a fire aspect sword, it still takes a long time to kill one of them. I snap from my thoughts when I see the 2 spawners start to shine. Again, I stand up and prepare to fight once again. However, instead of spawning more monsters, the spawner shines and disappears, leaving something behind. I look at the floating key in front of me curiously. The key is green in color, but there are 3 skeleton heads at the base of the key. Each skeleton has 2 small red jewels as their eyes. I take the first keys and quickly point my sword to the right when I hear something. I widen my eyes when I see a box with a human-like keyhole on its side. I look at the key for a second and push the key into the box. I can see my key disappear, and the top of the box starts to open. I put my shield forward and prepared for the worst, but instead of the monster, the box started to spit loot. The first one is an enchanted golden apple. The second and last loot is a ball of some kind. The ball is spinning and generating wind. What kind of thing is this? I take the item and store it in my inventory. I do not get any recipe from that thing. What is this? Usually, I will get a recipe each time I store something new in my inventory, but I do not get one after storing it. Maybe it is a weapon. Like a grenade, maybe. I don't know. I will try it later. For now, I need to get deeper. I look to the side and take the second key. Just like before, another box appeared, and I pushed the key inside my mouth. A few seconds later, I got a block of emerald and a block of diamonds. Not bad, but it is not something I can use in this fight, unlike the notch apple. I shake my head, and I follow the stairs to the deeper part of the chamber. After a few seconds, I arrive inside a massive empty room with 3 spawners in the room. Balls. I check my inventory one more time and take a deep breath. I step inside the room and see the door behind me close up. The spawner shines for a second before it spawns something I have never seen before. What is that? It was a massive creature with a body that looked like a tornado with a small orb in the middle of it. It looks like Blaze but is 2 times the size. I take out my bow and shoot that thing. However, instead of hitting it, the creatures release a wind and set the arrows toward me. That thing can deflect my arrow. I can see the spawners also summon a variant of skeletons. This will be hard. Chapter 43. Fuck. I roar in frustration as I see the twister bastard Lurda calls them breeze jump away from me. I cannot hit it as it jumps as high as the ceiling. I cannot kill that thing. I need to focus on the archers first. I dodge to the left and create a small wall between me and the platform with the spawners. I think for a second before an idea appears in my mind. I don't care about the chamber anymore. I will fight dirty and maybe replace the chamber when I am done. I create a dome, light the dome, and start digging down. After digging deep enough, I go north to the platform where the spawners are. I leave the hole, pour lava from the bucket, and quickly enter the hole once again. I do this to all the spawners before running back to my dome. I cannot use this tactic with them already out, but I can deal with a good amount of damage with lava once they spawn. Is it cheating? Yes, absolutely. However, fighting them is too much of a hassle, and I already got injured enough from those bastard breeze that threw me around the room. I take out a bunch of potions and drink them one by one. The first one is the potion of healing, which is to heal my body from fighting that bastard and healing the arrow wound. The second one is the potion of swiftness, followed by the potion of strength, the potion of slow falling, and the potion of leaping. I take a deep breath and destroy the wall between us. With the opening, I quickly ran toward the nearby stray. With my new speed, I easily dodge all the incoming arrows and arrive in front of it in a matter of a few seconds. I thrust my sword and hit the head of the stray. I will not stop there. I continue to swing my sword before I see it disappear and leave loot behind. However, I don't stop and watch as I quickly dodge to the left as I feel something coming from my back. I can see the wind cannon and arrows fly past me. I look at my next target. This time, it is the breeze. I dash forward and dodge another wind cannon from the wind creature, and when I see it jump away from me, I follow it using a jump of my own. Surprise! Bitch! I can do that too. I use both of my hands to swing the sword and hit the breeze with it. I swing my sword down and throw the bastard to the ground. I point my sword at it and stab the breeze in its head. After a couple of seconds of stabbing, the breeze disappears and leaves what looks like a breeze version of Blaze Rod. I grunt when I feel 2 arrows stab my back. I leap away and create a small tower to hide from the stray. I take a deep breath and start to run toward the next prey, a stray. After dodging the first arrow, I leap toward the stray and swing my sword. When the skeleton staggers from my attack, I kick it with all my strength toward the lava. I let the lava do the job as I dash to another target. I take out another potion of swiftness when I feel the effect start to wear off. I also chug another potion of strength before I appear in front of the stray. I swing my sword and continue swinging even when the stray shoots me. After a few seconds, the skeleton turns to dust, and I create another pillar to hide from the remaining mobs. I eat some steak and wait for it to heal me. With my body healed, I started running once again. I smile a little at the sight in front of me. The sight of my enemy burning from the lava. The loot might be gone, but I don't really care for them at the moment. While the majority of loot gets destroyed, some of them manage to get out of the way and let me pick them up. I only want this trial to come to an end. Most of them come from the breeze, and the drop is the key to making a mace. I only need something called heavy core, and I am good to go. However, according to Lerda, I need to reach the very bottom of the chamber to get that thing. I shoot the skeletons that survive the lava, and after the last one dies, I quickly continue to build a cage for the newly spawned mobs and pour more lava into the cage. After a few seconds, a new wave of monsters appear and get immediately burned by the lava. I take out bread, steak, tomato, lettuce, and some sauce I made at home. I decided to eat something while waiting for this to come to an end. Tonight's dinner. A steak sandwich. I just hope I can complete this thing before I get kicked out. Point 3 Road Povlerta looks at the mountain not too far away from his home for a second before releasing a sigh. Are you still thinking of him, dear? Yeah, I don't think he will make it, husband. It has been 7 days since he went to the trial chamber. I don't think he made it. Especially if he chugs those cursed potions. Lerda looks at his wife for a second before saying, no. For some reason, I know that he is alive and will return soon. How can you know that? Even that grumpy old man says that he will not survive. Call it a gut feeling, dear. I know that he is alive and managed to beat the trial chamber. His wife looks at Lerda for a second before releasing a sigh. However, as she is about to say something, they can see a golden pillar of light appear from the mountain, and fireworks explode in the dusk sky. Lerda grins from ear to ear and says, he did it. That man managed to beat the trial. I know it. Tell the others. We will throw a party to welcome him. Chapter 44 When I leave the trial chamber, my entire body is full of blood, and my armor is on the brink of destruction. Hell, I even lost a pair of diamond boots from this journey because I did not bring enough diamonds with me. Those bastard breezes are throwing me to the wall, and it causes the durability of my armor to plummet. What makes matters worse is that the slime is 10 times bigger than the one in the overworld. Each time they hit my armor or shield, it takes a good chunk of the durability of my armor and shield. That is why I spend all the diamonds I bring with me to craft more armor. I only have 1 diamond left and need to use iron to make a pair of boots. With a sigh, I change my chest plate and into my elytra. I want to at least arrive at the village and sleep on a bed. The constant sound of monsters while I am in that place rarely makes me sleep soundly, and it starts to affect me. Waking up every 2 hours makes you grumpy. I take out a stack of fireworks and start to fly toward the village. Lucky for me, It is not too far away from the mountain, and I can see that they are celebrating something from here. I wonder what kind of celebration they are doing. When I get near the village, I slowly descend and land to the ground. As I land, Lerda looks at me with a smile and says, "I know you can do it, my friend." He gives me a bright smile and gives me a tight hug. He is worried about you, Viserys. Every morning, he always looks at the mountain with a complicated expression. Dear, you don't need to tell him that. The woman giggles at his embarrassed expression. This woman is Lerda's wife, Junya. Come on. We already prepared a small celebration for your return. Lerda and Junya take me to the long table, where the others serve me some food, and all of us celebrate my victory. The party was modest, but the warm welcome of the people around me made the party amazing. After eating the food, Lerda looks at me with a mug full of juice and says, "Do you get it?" I give him a nod and take out the heavy core. Just like the name suggests, this thing is heavy. When I put this thing in my inventory, it gives me the weight of this thing. Even though it is only half the size of a regular block, it weighs as much as a gold block, the heaviest block in Minecraft. Whoa, it is just like the legend says. A dark metal that shines under the moonlight and releases a feeling of controllable thunder. I blink at his last words and nod my head. Yeah, I can feel that feeling when I first touch it. Yeah, I can feel it. Do you know someone who can forge a weapon using this for you? Sadly, we don't have anyone who can do it for you. I know a blacksmith that owes me a favor or two. I will ask him about it, and I have a feeling he can do that with how much he boasts his father taught him a way to forge legendary weapons. Lerda nods his head and says, "That is good. It is a shame when you put your life in danger to get that thing and not find any blacksmith who can forge it into a mace. However, if that blacksmith cannot forge you a mace, I think you should go further south. It is a long journey, but with your wings, you can reach that place in a day or two. A day or two using my elytra. Just how long will it take for me to reach that place on land? It is a coastal village. The blacksmith in that place once forged the mace for our ancestors. You can even ask the blacksmith to forge you a netherite armor. Of course, you need to provide him with the netherite. Right. I need to start the TNT mining to get ancient debris. I always forget about that, and each time I want to try it, I always get a bad location where a lava pool appears from a single blow of TNT. Right. Thank you for that information. I will visit that village in the future. When you are there, tell the chief that Lerda is the one sending you there. They will greet you as a friend. Thank you, my friend. You are welcome. After another hour of drinking and talking with each other, we decided to hit the bed. Lerda lets me use the empty house, and I release a sigh when my body hits the bed. It was a hard few days in the trial chamber, but now it is time for me to rest and return back home after making this mace. Thank you so much for letting me rest here, my friend. Think nothing of it, Viserys. Just make sure to visit us once you are done with all your problems. I nod and say, I will. I will also bring my loved ones with me. My sister would love seeing all the sights here. Here, take this. Junya gave me a basket with 5 apples, a slice of pie, and roast beef inside. Make sure to eat it when you are hungry, okay? Thank you so much. After giving one last goodbye, I take off and fly back home. With already knowing the location of the village, I fly at full speed and make sure not to stop like before to check out a new biome. It only takes me a couple of days instead of a week of travel before I can return. I am lucky that phantoms only appear if I am not sleeping for 3 days, because it will be a problem for me as I never once stop flying. My elytra is already in red, and I will recharge it on the express farm tomorrow. For now, I walk to my mansion and walk to the crafting table. I put in the necessary ingredients, and a second later, the mace appeared above the crafting table. I pick it up and feel some kind of rush of energy coursing through my body. I grin at the energy and change my armor. I can hear the zombies screaming outside my wall. I make another set of diamond armor and walk to the wall. It is night, and there are a lot of mobs underneath me. With a grin, I jump down and swing my mace. It kills the gold armor zombie in one hit, and after killing it, I start swinging my mace around. Unga, bunga, Viserys swing big stick. I laugh as I let my inner caveman out and run around the battlefield, bonking the mobs coming toward me. Chapter 45 inches. Take this. Heavenly bonk attack. I laugh as I spin around with my mace and hit all the zombies running toward me. I roar and swing down the mace to turn the last zombie into chunks. I release a happy sigh and wipe the sweat on my forehead. The mace is great. It is heavy, and I have a hard time swinging it quickly. However, in exchange, it is great to destroy something. It can kill a zombie in a single hit. Sadly, if the zombies are wearing armor, it still takes more than one hit to kill them. However, what makes me so happy is that I found out that the higher I jump for a fall attack, the bigger the damage, and also nullify the fall damage if the attack connects. What makes matters even more great is that as long as my target is not the ground, I can target anything and cancel the fall damage as long as it is connected. If my target runs away, I can put down a block and hit the block with my hammer to cancel the fall damage. I release a sigh and put the mace on my shoulder as I walk back to my home. While here, I decide to plant all the saplings I get from my adventure while searching for the village and the trial chamber. Most of them are trees I don't have in my miniature forest near my home, such as acacia and cherry saplings. However, I also plant some fruits I don't have on my farm, like sweet berries, beetroot, and glowberries. I got beetroot from one of the villagers who sold 5 seeds for 1 emerald. I don't know if this is because I saved their villages or not. However, I feel that if I go to the other village, I will need a dozen or so to buy 5 seeds. Villagers are known as scammers, after all. They need to go to the curing room full of zombies before they give me the real price of their goods. Not only that, I also returned to the end and took some samples for the end fruits so I could grow them in the overworld and hunted some shulker to create more shulker boxes. At the moment, I have 10 shulkers boxes, which is great because I can store important things and make it a ready-to-go box in case of emergency. After putting my armor away, I walk to the bed and release a sigh. Today is a tiring but productive day. Point 3 Road Pav Melisandre looks at the location of the portal in worry. She believes in her lord to be able to overcome the trial and win the weapon R'hllor showed her. However, she is still worried because her god shows her the possible future where her lord fails the trial, and his body will be forever entombed in the chamber where only monsters and the dead reside. The longer she waits for her lord's arrival, the more worried she becomes. If her lord died in the other world, they could not take his body back because only Viserys could open the portal to the Minecraft world. However, her worry vanishes when the portal appears in front of her. She gasps a little when she feels a mighty power wash over her. She can feel magic appear inside of her lord. Viserys always have magic inside him, but it is like a candle flame. It is small, and a small breeze can extinguish the flame. Now, it is like a raging storm that is ready to unleash upon the masses. Viserys does not know it, but the trial chamber does not only give him the items from the vault, it also gives him the magic he drinks from the ominous bottle. The cursed magic turned into a blessing, and now it fuels the small magic inside of him. The candle flame is not like a raging fire that can burn anything in its path. What? Is there something on my face? I already took a bath before returning. Melisandre snaps from her thoughts and says, My lord, do you get another blessing? Blessing? No, not really. Why? I don't feel anything new. She stays silent and gets closer to him. She put her hand on his chest and used her senses to look deeper into his magic. It looks like Viserys' magic will burn anything it touches, but to her surprise, it does not burn her magic but rather coats her magic, and she can feel the warmth coursing through her body. It is wild but also protective, just like Viserys, Melisandre thought. Melisandre. Viserys looks at the Red Witch in confusion. Melisandre only smiles and says, It is nothing, my lord. It looks like Lord R'hllor is happy for you. He grants you magic. You now can use magic just like me and have the potential to surpass me. You look happy at the last bit. Of course, Azor Ahai needs to be the best at everything. Even magic. If you are the best at magic, you shall have an easier time when the time for the fateful battle comes. Right. Will you teach me some magic then? And no blood magic or any magic that requires human sacrifice. Melisandre nods her head and says, Then we shall do totem magic. It is magic from Westeros, the northern magic. How do you know this magic? Ah, you underestimate us too much, my lord. We are the keepers of magic, and we make sure to store them in our library so that the magic does not disappear because of the wind of time. When we see the Order of Maesters think they are the only truth in this world, we know that we need to secure the magic of Westeros and give them to Azor Ahai to help him accomplish his destiny. The Red Religion is made to help their Azor Ahai in destiny, and gathering all magic around the world is among those duties. What kind of magic is the totem magic? It is magic that requires the sacrifice of an animal and takes their strength. However, to finalize it, you need to be the one hunting the animal from which you want to take their strength. The Northerners love to hunt bears, wolves, and mammoths. So, I need to go to the north if I want this magic to work. Not at all. You can hunt them in the other world. We can hunt some wolves there. And polar bear. Polar bear. Ah, it is another name for snow bear. I see. That can work. However, I never once saw any snow bear. You remember the sea of ice we crossed when we were about to kill the Ender Dragon? Yes. Are there any snow bears there? Yup. On the other side of the mountain. There are a lot of them there. Melisandre nods and says. Then we can go there to hunt some of them and perform the ritual. Viserys nods his head and says. We can talk later tonight. For now, I need to eat and play with Dany. I need to recharge my Donium. Melisandre only smiles and shakes her head in fondness at her lord's weird words. Sometimes, he invents weird words for something that does not exist. However, that is what makes her adore him. Chapter 46 inches. Okay, I understand that I need to go to the ruin of Valyria. However, who can take me there? I release a sigh as I lean over the couch. Melisandre and Willem sit in front of me with a serious expression. We are discussing how to get into the ruin of Valyria to find a way to hatch the 3 dragon eggs in our possession. We do have a lot of sailors that can take you as far as Yt. However, taking you to the ruin of Valyria will be difficult. That place is full of smoke and ashes that obstruct the view. And the sea is full of rocks that are just underneath the surface of the water to hide it but enough to hit the ship and damage it. I nod and say, so, who can navigate that kind of place? We need someone with sharp eyes to notice all the hidden rocks and enough experience to navigate the complex rock formation. We think for a few seconds before Sir Willem looks at me and says. We can ask Captain Harlan to take us there, Your Highness. Captain Harlan. He is among the people who sail as far as Yt and sail through the ruin of Valyria multiple times before he gets captured by the slaver. Melisandre nods her head and says. I agree with Sir Willem. He is the perfect person to get us to Valyria. I nod and say. Very well. Is he here? Sir Willem nods. He and his crew are currently resting before returning to the sea to continue their patrol. Good. Please ask him to come here. I will ask him to take us to Valyria myself. I smile a little at the man in front of me. Harlan has changed for the better. His thin body was filled with muscle from a good and healthy meal and from all the fighting against pirates and slave traders. However, what changes the most is the aura around him. Previously, his aura felt like someone who had nothing to lose and was ready to die in battle. Now, he looks like someone who finds a worthy goal and a place to return to from his job. Last I heard, he has someone he wants to marry. Captain Harlan. Your Highness. What can I do for you, my king? Please stand up and take a seat, Captain. He gets up from kneeling and slowly takes a seat in front of me. I can see that he hesitates to sit while Melisandre and Willem are standing behind me. Please relax, Captain. I call you here not to punish you or anything. I ask you here to ask you if you are willing to take me somewhere. I can see him release a relieved breath and say. Of course, Your Highness. I am more than happy to take you anywhere you want in this world. I need you to take me to the ruin of Valyria. I can see his expression change into a serious one. Ruin of Valyria? That will be hard, Your Highness. But not impossible, right? It is possible, yes. However, we need the wind on our side, Your Highness. All the sailors that try to set sail to Valyria always have one thing that prevents them, the wind. The wind in that area is unpredictable. It always blows to the opposite of where they want to be or worse, blowing to rocks or toward the shipwreck. That is why people call the smoking sea to be cursed. There is also a rumor of demons roaming just underneath the sea. I nod and think of a way to make the wind our ally. After a few seconds, an idea appeared in my head. I take out an orb from my inventory and say. Can we use this to prevent the wind from pushing our ship? What is that, Your Highness? I smile and say, this is wind charge, a ball of wind continuously generating wind. However, if I put my finger inside the ball, I put my finger inside the orb and pointed it at the door. A second later, a torrent of wind blows out of the ball and throws anything in its path. A couple of seconds later, I remove my finger and say, it will generate wind that can blow the sail for our ship. I don't know if it can beat the wind in the smoking sea, but if we put 4 or even 6 of them behind our sails, we can beat the wind. Captain Harlan nods his head and says, that can work. We can add another crow nest between the sails and in front of the pillar, and we can create a box with these orbs inside of it. Do you need to press it with a finger, or can it be pressed using plank or wood? As long as something is inside, it will generate the wind torrent. However, you need to make sure this black dot is in front of the thing you want to blast away. Then we can make the cover above the box able to press down. It is like a pressing box we use to make cheese. That is a great idea. I look at Harlan and say, I need you to ask the carpenter to make a box that can fit 10 of these orbs. After that, I need you to pick crews you know that will take us to Valyria. We need a crew who is hard and knows the sea. Harlan puts his hand on his chest and says, leave it to me, your highness. I shall gather the crew worthy for you. What about the ship? Should I prepare the biggest one? Harlan raises his finger for a second before putting it down. I am sorry to say this, but I think bringing a smaller, longer ship is safer than a bigger, bulky one. We will navigate around rocks and shipwrecks, after all. That is a fair concern. Pick the ship you need. Sir Willem will ask the other captain if that ship is currently used. I get up and continue. While you are busy with the box and the ships, I will prepare for the food, weapons, and armor. I look at Harlan and say, go and prepare for our departure. Ask the carpenter for how long they can modify the ship we will use. When it is done, we will immediately set sail to Valyria. After saying that, the others nod their heads and leave my office. Chapter 473 POV, activate the wind orbs. Harlan roars as he spins the wheel of the ship to dodge another rock while fighting against the wind blowing in the opposite direction. Harlan stirs the ship left and right, dodging all the rocks on their way. Your Highness, can you blast that rock in front of us? Viserys nods his head and runs to the head of the ship. He takes out his mace and uses the firework to fly toward the rock not too far away from him before swinging down his mace. A thunder-like sound happens when his mace hits the target, and the rocks turn into dust. He is not done. He takes out 2 TNTs from his inventory, places them near the rock, and then ignites them using flint and steel. Viserys flies away and watches as the TNT explodes, reducing the rocks into pieces and making a pathway for the ship. He lands on the ship and sees Melisandre look at Captain Harlan with a frown. She does not like him ordering Viserys around, but because of how dangerous the journey to Valyria is, Viserys agrees to be one of his crew members instead of his king for this journey to help get to Valyria. Harlan uses the spyglass that Viserys crafts in Minecraft world and checks if there are more obstacles on the way. Seeing there is none, Harlan makes sure the ship is steady enough to pass through the pathway Viserys created. Almost there. Come on. Harlan mutters as he navigates through the dangerous sea. However, he snaps from his concentration when one of his crew shouts something. What the hell is that? One of the crew shouts in shock and confusion while pointing at something on their port side. Viserys quickly go to the port side and see the undead swimming toward their ships. He widens his eyes and shouts. Sword. Undead coming through. Harlan. Focus on taking us to Valyria. The rest of you. Defend the ship. 3 of you. Defend the captain. The rest of the crew take out their swords enchanted with smite and prepare to get boarded by the undead. A few of them take out a spear made of a sword tied to a pole, and start to stab the undead who start climbing the ship. Incoming. The spearmen walk backwards while still pointing their spears at the undead who manage to board the ship. UARGH. The undead scream as they charge forward and get impaled by the spear wall. Viserys roars and charges at the undead from the side. The other follows his example and charges as well. They swing their sword and each time it hits the undead, light shines upon the undead and hurts the undead even though they are already dead. Not only that, once the sword hits the target, it makes them weaker to another attack. Because of this effect, they easily kill the undead with 2 to 7 hits. They continue to fight against the undead horde, and after a few minutes of fighting, the undead horde stops. However, they do not have time to rest as they see a giant undead appear from the ocean. It is an amalgamation of all undead in this part of the sea. Melisandre, can you light that thing on fire? Yes, my lord. Viserys takes out his mace once again and takes a flight. Melisandre releases a fireball at the giant undead and makes it stagger for a second while also lighting it on fire. Viserys uses this chance as he flies to the sky and falls above the giant undead. He swings his mace into its head and turns its head into a chunk of flesh. What? However, instead of dying, the giant undead moves its hand and tries to catch him. With a boost from fireworks, he dodges the giant undead and flies to the sky once again. Does it not die from that height? How much HP does this thing have? He shakes his head and continues to fly high into the sky. The giant undead moves its sight to the ship after noticing Viserys disappear into the cloud of smoke and ash above it. However, before it can get near the ship, Viserys flies down and swings his mace once again when he appears above the giant undead. This time, his attack creates an explosion, and the entire body of the giant undead explodes into nothing but flesh mist. Ugh! Undead bits. I need a wash. Viserys lands back on the ship and sees the others also done with the remaining undead that appears late from the water. He takes out a bucket of water, creates a 2x2 cube using dirt, and then pours some of the water inside. He is making an infinite water source. After he is done cleaning his body, he lets the others do the same while he walks to Melisandre. Melisandre, what kind of things are they? I know that they are undead, but the feeling they release is even more foul than I thought it was. Melisandre looks at him and says, they are the former slaves of the Valyria dragon lords. They are the slaves that are tossed to the ocean to defend Valyria from pirates or, worse, other kingdoms. However, before they drowned alive, the dragon lords put a curse on their bodies so they would come back alive and attack anyone other than the dragon lords if they reached this part of the sea. The feeling you feel from them is the curse that grows stronger after the doom of Valyria. They are the unfortunate souls that are cursed in life, and even death cannot bring them peace. Their hatred for the living makes them what they are, and only by killing them a second time that they finally find peace. Will there be more of them in the ruined city of Valyria? Yes. Without a doubt. Viserys releases a sigh and says, then it is lucky that I prepared a lot of potions and food for this journey. He shakes his head and looks at Melisandre. Do you know what kind of thing we should watch out for when we arrive there? More abomination. However, the abomination that guards that cursed the city most likely has the stronger version of what we have been fighting. There is also the possibility of an undead dragon as our opponent. I am sorry for not knowing, my lord. Viserys waves his hand and says, don't worry about it. That information is already enough for us. We only need to be extra careful from now on. He looks at Captain Harlan and says, Harlan, how long until we arrive? According to the map, in a few more hours, Your Highness. Good. Chapter 48. I look at the massive building in front of me and can feel a faint calling coming from that place. It is the biggest castle in the entire city, and I can imagine how majestic it was during the golden age of Valyria. What should we do now, Your Highness? I look at Captain Harlan and say, I need you and 50 people to stay here to ensure the undead do not attack the ship. As for the rest of you, you will come with me. We will explore this place. Sir Willem. Yes, Your Highness. Willem walks forward, and I say, we will rest here tonight. Pick the group that will come with us tomorrow. Yes, Your Highness. Pick the camping equipment. Sir Willem barks an order at the others, and I can see them taking one of the chests out of the ship. From the chest, they take out 3 campfires and 3 massive pots. They light the campfire using flint and steel and put the pots on it. Letting the others cook us some food, I decided to sit on the boulder near me. Are you nervous, my lord? I look to the side and see Melisandre walk toward me with a smile. A little bit, yes. It is okay to be nervous, my lord. As long as you don't let that nervousness overcome your judgment, it is okay to be nervous. Thank you, Melisandre. Don't worry. I will not let this nervousness overcome my judgment. I am only nervous because we will get deeper into the unknown. The journey we overcame was already hard, and I don't know what kind of trial we will encounter from now on. Whatever that trial was, I know you will overcome it. You also need to remember that we are here for you. We are your servants. We are your limbs. We are willing to take some of the burden on your shoulders. We are here for you, my lord. Don't forget that. I look at her for a second before smiling. You are right. Thank you, Melisandre. We will overcome this trial and take whatever Lord R'hllor wanted me to take. Foo, there you go. I nod and get down from the boulder. For now, help me build a shelter for all of us. Tell the others to take out 7 chests from the ship. The ones that I label building material. I need to build a small fortress around the ship to protect the ship and us. Usually, it will take a month to build a small fortress in my mind. However, with the power of a Minecraft player, I can build a fortress in an hour or 2. 5 hours later I nod my head at my creation. We now have a 7-meter tall wall surrounding us with 2 towers facing the land. I also surround the ship with a wall and connect the fortress and the ship using a bridge made of cobblestone. I create a barrack for the people and put down all the beds we bring so they can sleep. Because of Sir Willem and Melisandre's request, I built a 3-story tall house for myself. A king needs a bigger place to stay than his soldier, even though I am okay with a 1-story, tall box house. Building all of these requires a lot of cobblestones, and we do not bring enough. Luckily, I can build a cobblestone farm using lava and water. The others are the ones farming the cobblestones while I collect them to build the fortress. Good work, Your Highness. Please rest now. You have already done more than enough. I look at Sir Willem and accept the food in his hands. Thank you. Have you picked the people we will bring with us tomorrow? Yes, Your Highness. They are the best of the best and can fight in all kinds of places. They are also the ones that will protect you with their life. I nod and start to eat the food. The food is great. With the help of a Minecraft chest, we can bring a lot of salt and other spices with us. We can use a lot of it for our food without worrying about running out. I also can use my power to get more. The journey here is long. It was long enough for me to recharge my power multiple times. Sadly, I don't have time to enter the Minecraft world because of how dangerous the journey here is. Not bad. Give my compliment to the one cooking this. I will tell them, Your Highness. They will be happy to know that you enjoy the food they cook. While you are here, can you pick someone we can bring to scout ahead? I need to know what kind of place we will soon enter and plan our journey. Our destination is the biggest castle in the center of the ruin. Willem nods his head and says, I know someone who has light feet and sharp eyes. He will scout ahead of us. Good. Send him to scout ahead and make sure to give him some of the potions. Tell him if it is too dangerous to retreat. I don't want him to die. I will tell him that, Your Highness. Good. I nod and continue to enjoy my food. The stew is good, and by combining it with the fluffy bread I made using Minecraft power, the food goes from 6/10 to 8/10. After eating the food, I decided it was time for me to go to sleep. I am tired. I walk to the bathroom I made to contain the infinite water sources and clean myself. The smoke and ashes around the area make my body easily dirty. The ash and dirt easily stick to my body when combined with the sweat from hard work. After cleaning myself, I walk to my room and widen my eyes when I see Melisandre already waiting for me on the bed while not wearing anything. My lord, let this Melisandre take care of your body. I shall make sure your body is fresh when you wake up. Just like a fisherman fall for a siren, I fall for her charm. Chapter 49. As much as I want to fuck her, I decide to hold back. Melisandre looks disappointed, but after I say that I will take her when I reach adulthood, those words bring a smile to her face. Anyway, after taking a bath, we are ready to explore the ruin of Valyria. However, before we enter the ruin, I decide to call the scout. Your Highness. At ease. Tell me what you found from yesterday's scouting. Yes, Your Highness. I am sorry to inform you, but I did not go far. Don't worry about it. Just tell me what you saw, and we will plan our journey. Yes. There are no undead in the first few hundred meters on our journey. The road is destroyed but still easy to walk across. The one we should watch over is the building on the side of the road. They are fragile. It goes down with a single pebble I throw at it. How big is the road? It is 5 meters wide, Your Highness. We are good as long as we don't enter the buildings. However, after we reach around 500 meters, there is a massive rubble that we need to take away or climb over. I suggest we climb over because behind this rubble is a horde of undead. I am lucky they do not see or smell me because the rubble is rather tall. I nod my head. That is where my enchanted sword comes in handy. It has smite enchantment on it, after all. I return after knowing I cannot go deeper. And you make the right choice. How many of them? There are as many as us. That is quite a lot of them, huh? If we are not careful, it can be a problem. I think I need to bring some construction material. Go ahead and rest. You earn it. Your Highness. Yes. I am sorry to ask this, but can I go with you? I look at the young man, around 7 years older than me, and say, are you sure? This will be dangerous, you know. This is not your regular adventure back in Solaris, you know. I know. I have seen the foul magic that awaits us, but I want to experience an adventure I will never get. I want to witness what kind of foul magic we will face and beat them. I want to be part of your journey, Your Highness. Even as a scout. I look at him for a few seconds before saying, what is your name? My name is Vereno, Your Highness. Vereno, son of Lazaros. Very well. Join us, Vereno. I can use your quick feet. Yes. I will not disappoint you, Your Highness. After giving him some specialized equipment, we departed. Yikes. Vereno is not lying. There are a lot of them. We are currently standing on a platform I made to watch them from afar. I think of a way of killing them all. I look at Willem and say, Sir Willem, what do you think we should do now? We can immediately go down and kill them where they stand. The second way is to create a wall or platform for us to stand and shoot them with arrows. The first one will result in some injuries, but it is the faster way to kill them. The second one is safer, but they are slower. I think for a few seconds before saying, let's go with the first one. I don't want to spend all day here. Willem nods his head and shouts, men, prepare your shield. I pour water and watch the people jump into the puddle of water. Minecraft logic for the win. Water from Minecraft world will carry the same logic even when I bring it to the real world. I am the last one to jump as I take the water using my bucket before storing the bucket in my inventory. When I land on the ground, I can already see the others already fighting the undead. I take out my sword and shield before joining the fight. I thrust my sword at the first undead I encountered and continued to swing my sword. One by one, undead turn into ashes, and we slowly march through the massive amount of undead. The people behind us throw potions to the ground near us when we get injured by the undead. I look to the side and see a snake made of fire burn the undead that tries to attack me. I turn to Melisandre and give her a small nod. We continue to move forward, inches by inches, as we fight through hundreds of undead coming at us. Ha! Ha! I pant as I wipe the sweat from my forehead. Just how many of them are here? It takes us almost all day to reach this place. The sun is going down now, and in only a few more hours before it goes down. I put away my sword and drank some water from the water canteen. I release a sigh and say, all right, people, we are here. Let's end it, and we can return home. Oh, after saying that, we walk toward the palace, but as we get closer, the ground starts to shake and a giant skeletal dragon comes from the ground. It looks at us and roars. What the fuck? Chapter 503 Paw of the dragon roars even without any organ that lets it roar and releases a torrent of fire at us. Run! Viserys shouts, and the others jump away from the torrent of fire. A couple of them do not manage to get away and get burned by the fire. Lucky for them, they are wearing full armor with protection enchantment. They survive, but they are in pain and dying. Without even thinking twice, he takes out 2 golden apples and feeds them the apples. He watches as their bodies heal up and are good enough to stand up. Go. Run and heal. The 2 soldiers nod their heads and run as far as possible to heal while Viserys takes his mace from my inventory. At the moment, it only has unbreaking and mending enchantments, but even without any other enchantments, it is still a devastating weapon. Using his elytra, Viserys takes a flight and lets his body fall to the ground. While the skeletal dragon is busy releasing its flame breath at his people. Viserys falls at the dragon and swings his mace when he is about to land on the dragon's head. The sound of the mace hitting the dragon's head is so loud it can be heard throughout the ruined city of Valyria. The impact was strong enough to make the dragon get thrown to the ground and let the others hit it from a close distance with their smite enchanted swords. Each hit makes the undead dragon roar in pain. While Viserys' attack damages it, the sword with the enchantment of smite will hurt and damage it. When they see the dragon about to get up, Sir Willem shouts. Take out the bad potions. 5 people take out the splash potion of slowness and throw it at the dragon. They can see dark purple light coming out of the dragon's body, and they know it is working. Retreat. Sir Willem and the others retreat as the dragon slowly gets up from the ground. The people in the distance keep shooting the dragon with their arrows and damage the dragon little by little. The dragon looks at the retreating soldiers and opens its mouth. Viserys appears in front of it with his shield in hand and raises it as the dragon releases a torrent of fire. The others watch as the fire splits into 2 as it hits the shield in Viserys' hand. Viserys grits his teeth as he can feel his body get pushed back. His body might be immune to fire, but the others are not. After a few seconds of holding his ground, the dragon stops, and Viserys throws away his shield. It takes all the durability of my shield, and that thing is new. Shit. Viserys mumbled as he looked at the destroyed shield. He knows that if the dragon releases its fire breath a few seconds longer, the fire will hit his body and destroy his equipment. The fire might not hurt him, but the kinetic energy will throw him away and hurt him. He takes out his sword and dashes forward. He knows the others have already debuffed the dragon, and he knows he only has a few minutes to do as much damage as he can before the dragon thrashes around, making it harder to hit. Viserys runs toward the dragon, runs through the dragon's front legs, and attacks the leg with his sword. Each time his sword lands, white light washes over the dragon, creating internal damage that starts weakening the undead magic that makes this dragon alive. The dragon roars in pain and moves its tail to attack Viserys from his blind spot. However, before it can even get near Viserys, a snake made of fire grabs the tail and makes sure it stays away from Viserys. From the side, Melisandre is already done with her preparation and is now using her fire to protect Viserys. Her fire is not the best element against a dragon, a creature of fire, and she decides to use it to protect Viserys instead of attacking the dragon. Seeing an opportunity to help, Sir Willem orders his men to move forward and attack the dragon that is distracted by Melisandre's fire spell. However, he only takes 5 of his men who can move faster because he knows they need to retreat when the dragon attacks them. They join Viserys while the others use their bow and arrow to attack the dragons from a distance. The dragon continues to roar while thrashing around, trying to hit the people who use their swords to hit him. It even tries to use its fire-breathing attack, but before it can even release a torrent of fire, Melisandre uses her spell to close its mouth and hold the dragon long enough for the others to retreat before the dragon releases its fire breath attack. After releasing its fire attack, the dragon expands its wings and is about to jump away. However, Viserys notices this and immediately takes to the sky. When the dragon jumps high into the sky and is ready to climb the palace, Viserys already flies high and falls toward the dragon. Viserys uses all his strength and swings his mace at the dragon, who is trying to run away. The impact is strong enough to make the dragon lose its grip on the wall of the palace, and when Viserys swings his mace once again, it falls to the ground. Take this. Viserys follows the dragon, and when the dragon falls to the ground, Viserys appears in front of it and swings his mace once again. The impact was strong enough to create a crater underneath the dragon and crack the head of the skeletal dragon. Viserys blinks for a second when he sees a cracked orb behind the skull of the dragon. He takes his sword out and stabs the orb. He can see the orb shine, and the dragon starts to thrash around in pain. Viserys grips his sword tightly as the dragon thrashes around and even uses the palace to hit him. However, he stays true. He manages to switch his elytra with his diamond armor for extra protection as he gets slammed to the wall once again. He chugs potions after potions and even eats his emergency enchanted golden apple to stay alive. Your Highness. He can hear Sir Willem shout in concern as he runs toward him to try to do something. No. Back away. I can handle this. Trust me. Sir Willem hesitates for a second but obeys the order as he watches the dragon punch through the wall of the palace. However, it cannot throw Viserys away even as he thrashes around. He keeps his sword in the orb and even pushes it deeper. After 3 minutes of thrashing around, the orb crack gets bigger and finally shatters into pieces. The skeletal dragon falls to the ground, and all the bones detach from each other as the magic that stitches it together is gone. The others quickly run toward him. Sir Willem and Melisandre release a sigh of relief when they see Viserys looking at them with a smile on his face. His armor is full of cracks and dents from the trashing, but he is alive from all the potions and golden apple. Let's loot this place and return home. Chapter 51. We enter the palace and are lucky enough to see the place is intact and sturdy. We still walk through the place carefully, and I am ready to build a shelter in case something worse happens. I look at Melisandre and say, "Where do you think they store their treasure?" As much as I am ashamed to admit it, I don't know anything about Valyria other than what my mother taught me. You don't need to feel ashamed, my lord. No one knows about it. We need to search from the bottom to the top. Right. That means we need to check the bottom first. Spread out. Watch for anything that looks weird or something that's subtle. We spread out, but I could not find anything after a few minutes of searching. However, before I give up on searching, I can see Melisandre run toward me and say, "My lord, I found something." "Oh, show me." She takes me to the building behind the palace. By the look of it, this building is where the Valyrians of the past kept their dragons. The building is massive, with a very high ceiling. We have one in Red Keep, but it is much smaller and less grand than this one. Here we are, my lord. What do you mean we are here, Melisandre? I look around and do not see anything but the marble underneath us and the wall in the distance. There is a hidden room in here. I can feel a small hint of magic pulsing inside this. Really? I take out a pickaxe and say, "Step back." I equip my strongest armor and start digging through the marble. I dig through the ground one by one, and after digging the 13th blocks, I land in a large room. I widen my eyes when I see mountains of gold and jewels. Not only that, but I also see many books sitting in the corner of the room. Lastly, I can see a table with plants sitting on it. All of them are looking fresh instead of being dead. My lord, are you okay? I snap from my thoughts and create a pillar connecting the ground to the ceiling. I take out a crafting table and make some ladders. While climbing up, I make sure to create a bigger hole by digging the stone and dirt next to the first hole. After I am done, 2 block holes are done, and I say, "We are clear. Help me carry the chest outside." I create a bigger hole, and my men place wood on top of it. They take out the rope and throw the rope over the log. "Your Highness, we are ready." "Great. Willem and Melisandre helped me take all the treasure in this place." We put all the coins in the large chest and fill it up. After filling the entire chest, Willem ties the large chest, pulls the other side of the rope, and watches the large chest rise. I let Willem take care of all the goods while Melisandre and I look around at the magical items in this place. "So, what do you think? Is there something that lets me hatch the eggs?" "I don't think this is the place, my lord. All these books are about blood magic and sacrificial ritual. Worthless, then." "Not all of them. Most of them are something even I don't want to use, and almost all of them require sacrificing humans to power the magic." "What is it that does not require sacrificing humans?" "It is related to health and harvest. The ritual requires a sacrifice of animal blood and dancing and singing at a certain time of the year. Take that and burn the rest." Melisandre nods her head and burns the entire book except one. As for me, I decided to store all the plants and ingredients on the tables in my inventory to make sure they stay fresh. After storing all the chest away, we walk to the door at the end of the room. I wonder where it will take us. When I open the door, my smile of curiosity turns into a frown. What is in front of me is row upon row of cages with dragon bones inside of them. However, what frowns me is the skeleton of humans spread across the room. They are experimenting on humans and dragons. Now I can smell the foul air hitting my nose, and I hate it. It is the smell of death and decay. Even the zombie from Minecraft is not as foul as this one. We walk through the room and arrive in front of another door at the end of the room. However, before we leave this place, my eyes land on a big horn hanging on the wall near the wall. The horn is made of some kind of horn that is painted pitch black. I can see a leather made of skin from an unknown animal glued to the horn. On the leather are Valyrian glyphs, and carved on the horn is a depiction of a dragon screaming in pain alongside hundreds of people. I know this. I once read this. This is the horn that the person from Greyjoy takes, right? The horn that supposedly controls dragons or something. I forgot his name, but he is one of the crazy ones. All Greyjoys are crazy, but he is the top one. We must destroy this, my lord. Melisandre. This is the weapon that will prevent the rise of magic and the defeat of the Cold Ones. Burn it. I can't. This horn is the bane of all dragons, the creature of fire. This horn is immune to fire. You must use your light sword, my lord. Light sword. Ah, she means the smite sword, huh. I take out the sword specialized for the undead and swing at the horn. When my sword hits the horn, I can hear the screams of hundreds of humans. The horn is the one releasing that sound and the foul odor. I hold my breath and continue to swing my sword. This time, my sword creates a crack, and on my third strike, a hole appears, and the screaming gets louder. It is on the seventh strike that the horn cracks into two. After it split in half, the scream ceased, and the foul smell was gone. Whoever makes that thing should be tormented in whatever hell this world has. That thing is something I don't want to face ever again, and I encounter a merman-human undead hybrid on the way to this place. Let's get out of here. Chapter 52. We arrive at the highest tower of the palace, and when we open the door, I can see another mountain of gold and jewelry. However, what caught my attention was the shelf full of vials. I can feel something from the vials. This is it, my lord. Those vials are the key to hatching the 3 dragon eggs. I walk toward the shelf and see a book nearby. Rejuvenate Dead Dragon Eggs. I read the title of the book in the Valyrian language. I might not be fluent in speaking Valyrian, but I know how to read Valyrian books. I read through the books and learned that the egg needs an enormous amount of mana to be born. This vial is an accumulation of mana the Valyrians gather from the volcano near them. However, this comes with consequences. The biggest one is that it makes the volcanoes near them unstable, as all of the volcanoes around the Valyrian freehold are man-made volcanoes. The books tell me a little bit about the origin of Valyrian. We are the first humans who can harness magic, but because the Valyrian Peninsula is not a great place to practice magic because of its lack of mana veins that travel to the Valyrian Peninsula, they cannot practice magic to the fullest. To fix this problem, the first Dragon Lord decided to use his magic to create a mana generator. He made a magic formation that produces mana from the volcanoes in the Valyrian Peninsula. Sadly for him, his descendants become too cocky and think they know everything. They take the magic formation piece by piece to dwell into foul magic like blood magic and necromancy. One by one, the formation collapses, and because the piece that stabilizes the volcanoes is the first to be taken, the volcanoes start to get out of all control, and the magic it produces becomes a curse instead of a blessing. My lord. I snap from my thoughts and look at Melisandre. Sorry about that. I take out 5 shulker chests and say, take all the loot and store them in these chests. Melisandre, make sure they don't store anything bad. We don't want a cursed item to get inside the chest. Yes, my lord. While the others take all the treasure in this room, I walk toward the shelf and take a shulker box. This shulker box is the shulker box that stores the remaining shulker boxes. I take an empty one and store all the vials. I will study this later. I look around and notice a pile of books next to the shelf. I read the books one by one, and most of them are about restoration spells. It looks like after they know they did fucked up, they try to restore the magic circle, but it is too late. After the volcanoes erupt and release curses into the air, all of them die before they can leave this place. Some of the Dragon Lords decide to use their magic to cast sadistic spells toward their slaves once again. They are the ones creating the undead that roam this place and expand their undead army. Each human who died in the hands of the undead will become an undead themselves. That is why there are a lot of undead when we come here. There are too many people that die in the sea as they try to reach this place. After Melisandre is done with her screening job, she helps me divide the books I want to bring and the books that contain dark magic. When we are done, I take a deep breath and say, let's get out of here. Third Pav. While Viserys and his crew are busy adventuring in the Valyrian Peninsula, the war in Westeros starts to calm down. After months of war between the Ironborn and the royal family, the Ironborn finally get cornered in their islands. Unlike in the canon timeline, where they can take many woods from Bear Island after their defeat at Seaguard, they get a surprise attack from House Mormon. Unlike in the canon timeline, where they are recovering from the winter, in this timeline, they do not need to recover for long, and they have time to build ships for trade. The Mormons might not have the number, but they are fierce warriors. Even the women from Bear Islands can fight against a full-fledged warrior from the Iron Islands. Without even directly helping the royal family, Solaris Kingdom helped them win the civil war, or at least helped them reduce the time of the war to only a few months and not nearly a year of fighting. Now, they are approaching Pike, the last bastion of the Ironborn rebellion. At the moment, they are anchored near Banefort. It is the nearest ally territory to the Iron Islands. It only takes 2 days of sailing to Pike if the wind is on their side. What do you know about Pike? Robert looks at Lord Quentin Banefort with a serious expression. This is not Robert the Fat King, but rather Robert Baratheon the warrior, the man who defeated Rhaegar Targaryen, the Silver Prince. Pike stands on top of a giant pillar, and the only way to enter that castle is through the narrow bridge between the castle and the first fortress in the front that is sitting on a cliff. To enter the Lord's chamber, we also need to go through another small bridge to enter the third rock pillar where the Lord's chamber stands. Robert nods his head and says, "How many men the squid have left? We beat them on the sea and on the land. How many of them left? What do you think, Ned?" Eddard Stark put his hand on his chin and thought. After a few seconds, he says, 1,000 and a few hundred. 2,000 will be the biggest, and 1,000 at least. However, we don't know if the other houses will come to help Greyjoy and Pike. If they come to their aid, their force can reach up to 5,000. 5,000, huh, that is quite a lot. Robert grins and says, "Good. The more, the better. We will depart at dawn." Chapter 53. We return home after a few months of sailing. When we arrive at the dock, I see people already waiting for us. They stand there, shouting my name and welcoming us with smiles and joy. As we step off the ship, we are greeted with a grandeur I have never experienced before. The air is filled with the fragrance of flowers as they rain down on us, and the people welcome us as if we are heroes returning from a great war. I wave and watch as my men walk toward their families, who greet them with smiles. Horo bows at me and says, "Welcome home, Your Highness." "I am back, Horo. How is our kingdom? Is there anything I need to know immediately?" "Nothing that requires your attention right away. However, there is news that you need to hear." "Of course. Let's return to the palace." I order my men to return to their homes while I enter the carriage that will take us to the palace. We walk to my office, and after I take a seat on my chair, I look at Horo and say, "What kind of news do you want to tell me, Horo?" "It is news from Westeros, Your Highness." "Oh, yes. The civil war between the Greyjoy and the Baratheon has come to an end. The Baratheon family manages to defeat the Ironborn with the help of other noble houses. That is interesting news. Do you think they will attack us?" "I don't think so. At least, I want to believe they will not attack us." Robert Baratheon is a warmonger. Even though his people do not want war, he will find an excuse to start another war. They might not attack us anytime soon, but we still need to be careful. I nod my head. I know that Robert is someone who prefers war over ruling a kingdom. If he can go to war, he will choose that rather than rule a kingdom. Then we will make sure to be ready when they decide to attack us. Seeing him nodding his head, I continue. "Anyway, where is Dany? I want to meet her. I know that she misses her big brother." "Oh, she is. I take a lot of time and care from the others to make sure she does not cry and throw a tantrum. Then I will go and meet her now." "Where is she?" "She is currently in the study room, Your Highness." I nod and leave my office. I walk through the corridor and enter the study room, where I see Dany currently studying. However, as I open the door, she looks at me with a surprised expression and runs toward me. "Brother." I laugh and crouch to receive her. I pick her up and spin around. "You are back." I laugh a little and pat her head as she cries on my chest. I let her cry, and after a few minutes, I looked at her and said, "How is my little sister?" "Great. I am a good girl. I study and eat my veggies." I look at the nanny and see her nod. Lady Daenerys eats her vegetables and studies really hard. I smile at my little sister and pat her head. "Good girl. As promised, I will give you a gift." "Really? What is it?" "Let's enter your room first before I give you the gift." Come on." I laugh as Dany pulls me to her room. When we are in her room, we sit on her bed. "What kind of reward will you give me, brother?" "Wait here." I walk to the table where the 3 dragon eggs stay and return to bed. "Brother. Wait for a second, sis. Your reward will soon hatch." I take out 3 vials and pour them into each of the eggs. The eggs shine, and after a few seconds, the eggs start to crack. After another 5 seconds, 3 dragons appear from the eggs. They look around before walking toward Dany, who laughs and hugs them tightly. I let her play with them for a few seconds before saying, "And that is your gift, dear sister. How is it?" Instead of answering me, she walks toward me and hugs me tightly. "I love it, brother. You are the best." I hug her back with a small smile on my face. After a couple of minutes, I released her and said, "Right. I will leave you and your dragons for now. Make sure they don't burn anything, okay? We don't want our house to burn, right? I will, brother. Good girl." After patting her, I leave her room and walk toward mine. When I enter my bedroom, I can see the Ender Dragon egg still sitting inside a pool of lava. I cut my hand and fed it with my blood and mana. I can feel the egg on the brink of hatching and cannot help but be excited by it hatching. This is true dragon and not wyvern dragon. Dany's dragons are wyvern dragons, a subtype of dragon, while the Ender Dragon is a true dragon. They are bigger and stronger, at least according to legends from back on Earth. Do I need to use another potion to hatch the dragon? No. According to the Mother Ender Dragon, I only need lava and mana to hatch it. As long as I do that, the egg will hatch. I also already feel that it only needs a little bit more time before it hatches. I only need to wait for it to hatch. For now, I need to join the celebration my people made for me and show them the treasure we managed to loot from Valyria. It will boost my prestige and fame, something important to royalty. Should I add more from the gold I get from the Minecraft world? No. Let it be our emergency money. We don't know if we need them soon or not. I shake my head and leave my bedroom. It is time for celebration. Chapter 543 POV. No, Robert. We cannot go to war against the Solaris Kingdom. At least not yet. And why not? We have the ships and men to do it. We can attack them while we are here. And march through the other side of Westeros just to attack them. It will take months to reach King's Landing and another week to prepare the ship. Another week to set sail to Solaris through the most pirate-infested ocean in the world. After the victory in Pike and sending the heir to Ironborn to the north, Robert immediately wants to wage war against the Solaris Kingdom and kill all Targaryen he can see. However, many of the lords who answered his call in the Civil War voiced their disapproval because they didn't want to waste any resources for a long war. Unlike the war against the Ironborn, they will fight in a foreign land and far away from their home. It will cost them money and men, something they don't want to spend after going through 2 wars in quick succession. So what? We can use the gold we get from the Ironborn to pay for this war. And it only lasts for a few months, Robert. And that is if we wage on land. War in the ocean is different. I already talked to Stannis, and he says it will double or triple the gold we get from the Ironborn to pay for the food alone if we want to wage war against the Solaris Kingdom. Then are you suggesting we are not attacking those dragon bastards? No, Robert. I suggest we grow our coffers for now and then attack them. We need time to heal and grow before we go to war once again. Robert looks at his surrogate father for a few seconds before slamming the mug in his hand on the table, shattering it. Fine. However, you better prepare for the war. I don't want any living Targaryen running around in this world. A good dragon is a dead dragon. Jon nods his head and releases a sigh when Robert leaves the room to search for a whore or another drink. Truthfully, he wants to try to prevent Robert from going to another war because he knows that the Baratheon dynasty will not survive another war. Or at least it will give the other lords a lot more power over the royal family from the constant war. Especially the Lannister. They owe a good amount of money to the Lannisters to pay for this war. It is not too much, and they can pay it back in a couple of years, but if another war happens, they need the old lion's money once again, and it will increase his political power in the royal family. What should I do? I don't want another war, but if I leave them alone, they will attack us. And that is what gives Jon too much headache. As much as he doesn't want to admit it, there are still a lot of houses that support the Targaryen and hate the Baratheon rule. Jon doesn't want them to start thinking of another rebellion to make Viserys the new ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. There is also the problem of the Solaris Kingdom helping the North last winter by feeding them and even filling their coffer from the trade. Luckily, Eddard already says that he cut ties with the Solaris Kingdom after learning about Viserys' real identity. He trusts his second surrogate sons when Eddard says the North will not trade or even make an alliance with the Solaris Kingdom. The North is simple and loyal people. Once they give their loyalty, they will continue to follow you as long as you are not leading them astray or betray them. However, Jon still needs to watch out for House Bolton. Their house is known for taking an underhand alliance against the enemy of House Stark. Their ambition to rule over the North is still known throughout the Seven Kingdoms. For now, we need to rebuild the kingdom and make sure it is stable enough for another war. Why are you calling for me, brother? Can't I call for you, brother? A baron releases a sigh and says, not since this mess happened. I am busy attacking the remnants of the Ironborn pirates. They are raiding the villages around Sunspear. And I thank you for protecting our fief. However, you are right. This call is not a call for a chat but rather a job for you. What? Is fighting the pirates not enough for you, brother? It is not like that, brother. It is regarding our revenge. At the mention of revenge, a baron's expression changed. What is it? I have found the location of our sister's son. What? Are you sure? The two of them managed to catch a rumor that Aegon Targaryen is still alive somewhere in Braavos. However, they don't know if the rumor is true or not. Are you sure it is him? Please tell me it is not someone who dares to take the identity of our sister's son. No, I know that this is him. Sir Jon Connington is taking care of him, and you know, that is the only reason he is willing to hide Aegon so thoroughly. There can only mean one thing. A baron looks at Doran for a few seconds and nods his head. It must be Aegon. A baron releases a sigh and says, then what do you want me to do? Don't we agree that we will approach the Two Dragons of Lee? Two Dragons of Lee is the title for both Viserys and Daenerys after Viserys manages to take over Lee and change it into Solaris Kingdom. Doran shakes his head and says, no. The two of them might have ties with us. Aegon has blood ties with us. I will not let the children of the Mad King rule the Seven Kingdoms. I don't want them to be another Rhaegar. A baron nods his head in understanding and says, very well. You are right. What do you want me to do? Ah, right. I need you to take a dozen men with you to Braavos and make contact with Sir Jon Connington. Tell him that we want to make an alliance with the true ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. A baron gets up and says, very well. I will leave and make contact with him. Chapter 55. As I gaze out the window, a smile tugs at my lips. It's been 7 months since my journey to the ruins of Valyria, and in that time, my territory has expanded significantly. The influx of people from mainland Essos has bolstered our numbers, allowing us to advance the project we've been nurturing. Among them is the thing in the distance. I can see the massive building in the distance from my office. That is the Grand Temple of R'hllor. The order has changed since Melisandre appeared in my life. Under my guidance, the Red Church has undergone significant reforms. They no longer practice human sacrifice and only occasionally offer animal sacrifices to honor their god. Speaking of animals, I have already created a special land to be used as pasture, using the dirt from Minecraft World. This land will work to make the cows grow faster and healthier while also making them love to reproduce more. The biggest cow, sheep, and pig will be chosen every 2 months to be sacrificed in front of the Grand Temple, and another 10 cows, sheep, and pig will be butchered to create a festival that will last for 2 days. Fortunately, the cows in our world are not like those in the Minecraft world, where all animals are the same size. This allows us to selectively breed and raise the largest and healthiest animals for our purposes. One of them is to be used as a sacrificial animal to R'hllor. We will take the biggest animals and parade them around the city, showering them with care and giving them the best food and treatment before sacrificing them. Melisandre is the one arranging this kind of thing because, according to her, we should only give the best to R'hllor. I don't really care about it, but at least they don't sacrifice any more humans. With the help of the special pasture, we have become the biggest meat exporters in Essos. Many mercenary companies come to us to buy leather in bulk to make their armor. It might be weaker than chainmail or even full-plate armor. However, it is cheaper and offers good protection. Good enough that it can save your life if made correctly. However, husbandry is not the only thing that we are known for. We are also known for our wide selection of fruits and vegetables that should not be able to grow in this area. Take the blood orange, for example. It should not be able to grow here, but with the help of Minecraft's dirt, we can grow it here. We export a lot of vegetables and fruits as well throughout the world. It makes our territory known as a gold mine. Come here, buy anything for cheap, and sell them to other areas for triple the price or even 10 times the buying price. Solaris Kingdom has become a trading hub that lets you become rich if you play your cards right. It has become an important kingdom in the eyes of many and is no longer a kingdom that only exists because I take over. Our kingdom fills a lot of pockets, and suddenly, it becomes important. It has become important enough that many mercenary companies want to make the Solaris Kingdom as their base. I let a certain mercenary group occupy the corner of the port and let them make a base there. It brings money through tax, and I can hire them in case an emergency situation happens. Of course, I make sure my people do their background checks because I don't want mercenary groups with bad backgrounds like the Bloodhound group, which is known for backstabbing the ones hiring them. I don't know why people still hire them with how bad their reputation is, but I guess some people are desperate. Other than trade and agriculture, I also make sure my military grows steadily. I offer good compensation to all the soldiers who join the military and am even willing to let them become a citizen of Solaris if they serve for 7 years in the military. What does this do? It let them stay in the capital and buy a house behind the wall. It might not sound much, but to these people, it is a privilege to be able to stay behind the wall of Stellaris City. As for the people who are already citizens of Solaris Kingdom, they can buy and own land in my kingdom and create a farm of their own. Usually, they need to give up 20% of their harvest each time they harvest as compensation for using the land I own, but now they can sell their goods fully without the harvest tax. Let's just say that a lot of people want to be sailors and soldiers after I implement this rule, not only for the money but also for the chance of getting that free harvest tax. If you are careful with your money, you should be able to buy a small piece of land after a decade of serving in the military. Other than sailors, I also make sure to train the soldiers to be able to fight on land. We even make sure some of them are great riders. The last one is that we make sure to train them in archery. They are not the best but can be swapped as archers if the situation requires it. Brother. I snap from my thoughts when I hear my sister's voice. I smile brightly at the sight of my sister at the door, and I quickly get up to greet her. I laugh alongside her as I spin her around after picking her up. I am glad we have peace for a moment because now I am ready to protect this peace. Point 3 Road Pav. There is a small town in the disputed land in Essos. The town used to be ruled by the runaway magister of Lee, but it changed when the slaves in that city raised a banner of freedom and fought for their freedom. However, they are now facing a tough choice. After receiving their freedom, they hear news of one of the call of the Dothraki tribe eyeing their little town, and they are afraid that all their effort will come to an end. What should we do? One of the leaders asks his fellow leaders with a hint of worry in his voice. We cannot fight the horde of Dothraki by ourselves. Then what do you suggest? Run away. We just got home through steel and blood. No. I am saying that we need to think something if we want to fight them. As all of them bicker with each other, the oldest one in the room slams his hand on the table and makes the other quiet down. We can join the Solaris Kingdom. His suggestion is met with silence before one of them says. Do we discard our freedom just like that? No. We will not discard our kingdom. You have seen what the Solaris Kingdom is, and you know that they will never treat us and our people like slaves. We will still have our freedom in exchange for us to kneel under their rule. The Sun Dragon is wise and just. He is the perfect leader for all of us. They all hesitate but nod their heads after a few seconds. Seeing them in agreement, the old man says. Then let's send a letter to Viserys Targaryen. We will join the Solaris Kingdom in exchange for protection. Chapter 56. I look at the people in front of me and sigh. Tell me from the beginning before I make a decision. One of them nods their heads and says. We are from the small town on the edge of the Orange Shore. Our town is called Gerlean, and we used to be ruled by the Magister of Lee. However, we decide to take our freedom and rebel against the Slaver. Sadly, the news of our rebellion spread, and a call heard about it. They want to raid our town and butcher our people. The reason why we are here is to ask for help from the Solaris Kingdom. In return, we will join you and serve you as our king. I look at him for a few seconds before releasing a sigh. I look at Melisandre and Willem and say, what do you guys think? Should we help them? Willem looks at me and says, we should help them, Your Highness. We have enough manpower to do so, and it is a perfect chance for our men to experience a real battle. Dothraki is the perfect army to test our newly built army, Your Highness. I look at Melisandre, and she smiles at me. I also agree with Sir Willem. It is time to show the world that we are not a kingdom that depends on trade only. It is time to show the world that the dragon has sharp teeth and claws. I nod my head and release a sigh. While I don't want war, I know that sooner or later, we will enter war, and a battle against the Dothraki is better than a war against Westeros. I stand up and look at the group of people in front of me. The Solaris Kingdom shall help you, and in return, you shall join our kingdom. We will depart in 2 days. You can send a message yourself to inform the other, or you can use one of the messenger birds. They look at me in happiness and bow their heads. Thank you, Your Highness. We will not forget this kindness. Get up. You can thank me later when we are done with the invading Dothraki. For now, tell me about the enemies we will face. Yes, Your Highness. The Khal is called Kako, and he leads 2,000 strong Khalasar. They are known for their brutality as they torture all men they capture before killing them. All the women they capture will be taken as slaves to the Khalasar. 2,000 men, huh? That is a lot of people. According to the book I read, 2,000 men are considered to be a big Khalasar in the Dothraki tradition. It is not the biggest, but it is big enough to make you a great call. We have 6,000 men that are ready for battle. We have a reserve, but I prefer not to call them into battle because they are nothing but peasants with spears that only train for a few months. They are the people that fail the test to join the military. We can send half of our men here and send the rest to mainland Essos. I look at Willem and say. We will send 3,000 men to the Garlean town as reinforcement. We might not need them, but we will also bring 200 horses with us. Make sure to bring a lot of arrows and crossbow bolts with us in this battle. We need them to fight against the Dothraki. I shall see it done, Your Highness. I nod and look at Melisandre. Gather the potions. We need them. Not only that, tell the others to bring a lot of food. Of course, my lord. I shall fulfill your command. Also, call for Captain Harlan. I need him to inform the others to prepare our ships, all of them. Of course, my lord. I shall inform Captain Harlan about this. Good. I look at the people in front of me and say. Please follow the servant. They will show you the room where you can rest. After saying that, we left my office. Melisandre and Willem leave to prepare for the incoming battle while I leave to go to the port. I need to go to the hidden farm to see if we have enough food to feed the people in Garlean without affecting our trade with other countries and free cities. When I reach the port, I take one of the ships to go to Lunaran City, where the hidden farm is located. It does not take long for me to reach the island, and when I reach the island, the people there greet me with smiles on their faces and are about to make a feast in my name if not for me telling them that this is a quick visit. After a few seconds of disappointing noises, they take me to the mayor's house, where a middle-aged man greets me. Your Highness. Welcome back. I am sorry for not getting you a feast, but I can ask the others to make a feast for you. You don't need to make a feast for me, Mayor Vogan. I will not stay here for long. Maybe we can do that another time. Dany's birthday will be a perfect day for a feast. Then we will prepare the biggest and grandest feast for our beloved queen. I hold back a grimace when I hear that. Targaryen is famous for our incest practice, and the people are already labeling Dany as a queen. I already tell them that it is not, but they never listen, and I already give up. In the end, I can abdicate and give the throne to her to make their wish come true. I push that kind of thinking away and say. Anyway, I came here to check on the food storage situation. How much food do we have? A lot of food, Your Highness. We can feed the entire kingdom for 3 months without rationing if we use all the foods in the food storage. Really? Yes, Your Highness. We put the excess food into storage after fulfilling the quota for trade. That is a lot of food. As expected of Minecraft. If this power appeared back on Earth, there would be no hunger in the world. I shake my head and say. That is good. Thank you for your hard work, Vogan. What are you talking about, Your Highness? This is nothing. We are former slaves, and we know what hardship is. This is nothing. We are willing to offer our lives if you demand it for what you have done to us. This is the least thing we can do to pay for our debt. I look at him for a few seconds before smiling. Even then, thank you for your hard work. Please tell the others I say that as well. Of course, Your Highness. They will be elated to hear this. I nod and continue. Anyway, the second reason I come here is to take some of the food from the storage for the incoming battle. Are we at war, Your Highness? No. We are going to help the people from the disputed land against the attack from the Dothraki horde. We need food to help the people there. I have a feeling they need food. He smiles at my reasoning and says, "We will prepare the food, Your Highness. When you are ready to depart, the food will be ready." I nod and stand up. I will leave it to you. Sadly, I need to return to Stellaris and prepare. I understand, Your Highness. You don't need to worry. We will not disappoint you. I know you won't. After saying that, I leave the house and wave my hand at the people who gather outside the house. With my business done here, it is time to return to Stellaris City. Chapter 57. I can hear it. I can hear the cheering from the people who are waiting for us in the port, even from here. And it gets louder when we finally dock in the port. It is as if we are a war hero even though we have yet to help them against the Dothraki. When I leave the ship, I can see 3 people standing there, bowing their heads to me. Your Highness, welcome to Gerlean town. Thank you for helping us. Save your gratitude when the threat of Dothraki has come to pass, my friends. For now, help me give the people here some food we bring with us. With the mention of the food, the others start to cheer. It looks like I made the right decision to bring more food with me. The people here look more like skeletons than humans. Even if they have the number, they cannot beat the Dothraki without food. After we provide them with the food they need for today, I look at the 3 people and say, "Let's talk about the incoming threat." One of them nods their heads and says, "Of course, Your Highness. Please follow me. We already prepared a carriage to take us to the castle." I nod and follow the others to the 3 carriages they already prepared. Willem, Melisandre, and I enter the first carriage alongside the oldest of the 3 people. When we are inside, I look at him and say, "First thing first, what is your name?" "Ah, my name is Marrero, Your Highness. I am the current leader of this town." "Very well. Marrero, tell me about the Khalasar that soon attacked this town. I also want to know what kind of Khal is the one attacking us." Marrero nods his head and starts explaining. Khal Kako is a well-known Khal who raided many towns and villages in the northern part of Essos, but after he managed to raid Valisar town, one of the Volantin cities, and use the bridge to cross the river, he put his sight at the southern part of Essos. Marrero takes a deep breath and continues. He already raided 5 towns and villages in this land. And now his eyes land on this town. The only reason we know about this is because the merchants that come here warn us about them. Do you know when they will arrive here? We don't know. However, the merchant thinks it is within a week or 2 weeks from now. 7 days is the earliest. That should be enough to create a wall around the city. Not only that, we can also create traps near the cities to reduce their number before they reach us. Facing Dothraki in open battles is suicide. Creating a wall around the city will protect it against the horde, but we cannot stay in the city forever. Sooner or later, we need to attack them. That is why we need to reduce their number as much as possible from our walls and the traps we make. When they create camps outside the city, we can attack them from the dark and cause as much damage as possible. It would be even better to kill their horses while reducing their number. When their numbers are low enough, we can fight them head on. Like the Mongols, the scorched earth tactic is the best tactic against them. Poison the water and burn all the plants to make sure they cannot feed their horse. I can replant all the vegetation later. For now, we need to kill the Dothraki or at least deal enough damage for them to think twice before raiding us once again. Your Highness. I snap from my thoughts and say, "Sorry about that." Continue. Of course, Your Highness. The Khalasar itself is numbered around 2,000 strong. Just like any other Dothraki, they all ride horses and bring their slaves to take care of the animals they bring with them to feed the army. They bring animals in their group. Yes, most of them are lambs and goats. Of course, they only eat those animals if they die of old age or if they cannot find any animal around for them to hunt. That means the plan of scorched earth is still a go. If we can kill their animals and poison their water supplies, we can starve them to death. However, to get the maximum effect, I need to make sure not to poison the water supply immediately. Let them think it is safe, and when they think they have a water supply, I can poison it. Do you have a map I can see? I suddenly asked the old man. We have one in the castle, Your Highness. Does it show where the water supply is? It does. I smile and say, good. I have a plan that might be working against the Dothraki. Third Pav Marrero looks at the massive wall in front of him in awe. In a matter of 2 days, a wall appeared around the town. It is not yet completed, but the one that is done is something that makes him in awe. The wall in front of him is something that only the main city of the Free Cities has. 2 meters thick and 8 meters tall is a wall that can even withstand a siege weapon. He watches as the people work together to help Viserys in building the wall. While the others want to forbid him from doing anything, Viserys tells them that only he can do what he did, and if he stops working, the chance of them winning will be greatly reduced. The words that come out of his mouth make the people who hear him move to tears. Here, a king who is willing to sweat alongside the commoner. Because of this, the people of Garlean did anything they could to help the king complete the wall. From bringing the food to even wiping the sweat on his forehead and body. They also help the soldiers make a moat around the town. The men dig together while the women make the food for the others to eat. And for the first time in a while, the people of Garlean see hope. Chapter 583 Pova man rides through the land in the middle of the night, using the cover of the night to hide him and his horse from the enemies from noticing him. He watches the town in the distance with a frown on his face. They have walls. This will be a problem. This man is the scout of the Khalasar. He is scouting ahead to inform the others about the situation of the town they want to attack. However, after seeing the massive wall around the town, he knows that they cannot do what they always do. Come in and burn the town. Now, they need to use the strategy they use against bigger cities like Volantis. Make a camp outside the city and burn all the villages and farms near the town. They need to force the people behind the wall to come out of the city and face them in the open. The Dothraki do not have anything that can take over a walled city, but they can make sure the people behind the wall suffer. Starvation is among the things they will do to them. He does not like this kind of thing because it removes the thrill of the hunt and killing. However, there is nothing they can do for now. I need to inform the call. He rides through the grassland and arrives at the campsite where the rest of the Khalasar stay. He quickly enters the call's tent and bows. My call. I bring news. What is it? How is the target? The town is walled. My call. Call Kako clicks his tongue and says, I hate this. However, I already gave my word to raid that town. We will still march tomorrow morning and encircle that town. We will raid all the villages nearby and burn their farms. The blood riders of the call cheer at the announcement, and the slaves in the tent cower in fear as they feel the bloodlust the blood riders and call release. However, they don't know that this decision will be something that comes out of their nightmare. The next day, Viserys and the others watch as the Dothraki encircle their town. They do not do anything but make a camp outside the town wall. Viserys looks at Melisandre and says, Melisandre, how long will the food last? 3 months at best, my lord. That means we need to start our plan immediately. Viserys looks at Willem and says, gather the others. We will start the plan. We will start our move tomorrow evening. For now, call the archers. We will attack them from here. He can see the soldier from this town look at me in shock. They do not believe my people can shoot them from this distance. The camp is about 400 to 500 meters from the wall. That might be hard for normal humans or even impossible, but with the power of Minecraft, it is possible. 40 people walk forward with the enchanted bows in their hands and potions in their other hands. Chug. Viserys shout, and they chug the potions. They draw their bows and point at the sky when they are done. Fire. He looks through his spyglass and smiles when he sees the arrows hit their building. Viserys' smile gets bigger when he sees the tent caught on fire. Fire. He shouts once again and sees another volley of arrows land on them. Most of them miss the people, but they hit the tent and even the animals the Dothraki brought with them. Fire. Viserys will make sure they lose something in this first battle, and when they decide to stay near the forest, Viserys and his people will make their days even worse. After their 20th volley, the Dothraki managed to take the important things and ran away. The others start to cheer when they see the Dothraki run away. Viserys looks at them and say, the fight is not yet over. The Dothraki are still there, and we still need to defeat them. Willem, cancel the previous plan. We will go when the sun goes down. We will not let them sleep. Yes, Your Highness. Also, bring the potion of invisibility and potion of poison. We will need them. It was a humiliating thing for Kal Kako. To be forced to retreat is something that he cannot accept. Even though they only retreat into the forest and do not completely retreat, it is still a stain on his good name. They manage to make a camp just after the sun goes down. Kako calls all his men to his tent to have a talk. Kako looks at his Kos, commander in his Khalasar horde, and says, "We will start burning the farm tomorrow. We will show them what it means to mess with me." With the other agreement and shout of vengeance, Kako grins and says, "Tomorrow morning, we will attack the village in the north, and then we will burn the farm near the wall. We will go there and burn them without stopping. Let them starve while we feast on the food they grow." Kako takes a deep breath and opens his mouth. "We shall show them what fear is." Before he can finish his words, he can hear screaming outside the tent. Kako and the others run out of the tent to see half of the tent set ablaze. What makes matters worse is that someone destroys the fence where the lamb stays, and with the fence destroyed and the fire, the lambs start to run away. It takes them a long time before they manage to put off the fire. They are lucky they make a camp near a lake. That night, Kako and his Khalasar do not get that much sleep. When the sun rises, Kal Kako receives another piece of bad news. Many of his men died that night. They are dying after consuming the water from the lake. They just consume poisoned water. Other than burning their camps and releasing their animals, Viserys and his group also poisoned their water supply. What they are drinking is water tainted by 3 dozen of potion of poison too. With a roar of anger, Kal Kako orders the men who can still ride to raid all the villages near the town. With 1,000 men behind him, he rides through the forest. However, they get another surprise when they see all the villages around them already empty. The entire village is empty and burned to the ground. Not only that, the well was already closed up and poisoned by Viserys and his group. If they open the well and drink the water, they will have the same result as the people back at the camp. Kako grits his teeth as he goes from one village to another without stopping, only to see the same result. With only one option left, he and his horde ride toward Garlean to burn all the farms around the town. However, what greets them is the sight of billowing black smoke as he watches the people of Garlean burn their own farm, leaving nothing for them to take and burn. This is the tactic Viserys uses to handle the Dothraki. Kill their food supply and block them from getting more food. Slowly kill the Dothraki without giving them a chance to stand back up. This is the nightmare Kako needs to face. Chapter 593 The situation in the Khalasar of Kako is getting worse by the day. They do not have any sleep because Viserys sends his people to harass Kako and his horde using the invisibility potions each night. Each time they are done building their tents, Viserys and his people will raid their tent each night and burn them down. Not only that, they also make sure to destroy all the food the Dothraki manage to gather from the remaining animals and plants around the area. They start to eat grass just to fill their stomach. What makes matters worse is that they are also running out of arrows because of the constant burning of their tent, and their arrows get burned alongside their tents. Speaking of tents, they are now sleeping out in the open without any protection. The last thing that broke them was the sight of their horse being butchered at night by the invisible army. After a long day of running away from the invisible army and back to Valasar city, they are exhausted from the lack of sleep and the long journey. When the sun goes down, they go to sleep immediately, and in their sleep, Viserys and his group butcher the entire horse of the Khalasar. That is the last sign that they are defeated. Their arrows are gone, their food and water are gone, and now their horses are gone. This loss of their horses, which are not just a means of transportation but also symbols of their identity and pride, is the greatest insult to a Dothraki possible. With shame hanging over their heads, the Khalasar walk through the grassland instead of riding horses. Even after losing their horses, Viserys and his people do not stop. They continue to terrorize the Dothraki with everything they have. Arrow in the dark and slitting of the throat while they are sleeping. Those are among the moves he uses against the Horse Lord. The Dothraki that comes with Kal Kako starts to call Viserys and his group demons of the night in their language. The demon that makes them fear the dark and have nightmares when they close their eyes at night. However, they get their hopes up when they see Velvet Hill after a few days of walking. They are near the city and can start doing what they did best, raiding. Within a few more days, they will reach Valasar city. Kalkaka orders his people to rest underneath the hill, hidden away from the others from the thick forest around them. As the night covers the continent, Kalkaka and his Khalasar sleep fast because they are exhausted from the lack of sleep and constant attacks from Viserys even during the day. With their mind and bodies begging for relief, they eagerly close their eyes and let the dream world consume them. Sadly for them, Viserys is not done with them. However, he does not do it with a small group of people. He had already sent someone to inform the others to move out quickly through the forest from the north and enter Velvet Hill. The Dothraki were too tired and too hungry to notice an army moving north of them. Combined with the loss of their stead, they now do not have any scouts who can notify them if there is a movement. So, when the moon is above them, Viserys moves his hand and silently orders his army to move out. The only sound they release is the sound of their horse. The Dothraki are too deep in their sleep to hear the sound until they are already near enough to their hidden camps. Viserys takes out his warm horn and blows it up. When they wake up from their sleep, it is already too late. 200 cavalry sweep down the hill and go through their camp like a tsunami, washing away a city. All the horses are equipped with armor. It is a leather armor that Viserys made using the power of Minecraft, and the blacksmith created chainmail on top of it. It is the demon. 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 One of the Dothraki shouts in fear as he takes his sword to try to hit the incoming cavalry charge. However, before he can even hit the horse or the person on the horse, a massive lance pierces through the unarmored Dothraki. As for Viserys, he swings his mace left and right as he crushes all the Dothraki standing in front of him. The slaves had already run a long time ago, using the chaos from his group to escape to the Garlean city. With no innocent left in the Khalasar, Viserys does not hesitate to use his weapon to go on a killing spree. Sir Willem rides next to him with his mace in hand. He also crushes all the enemies near him. He makes sure to keep up with his liege to ensure he is safe and prove that he is worthy of being a knight who stands next to a king. Melisandre stands not too far away from the battlefield and uses the higher ground to use her magic against the Dothraki. 7 snakes made of flame fly out of her hand, and it slither on the ground to burn all the Dothraki who touch them. Even though the Dothraki are known for their fearlessness, they start to know fear from fighting all the supernatural enemies before them. With that crack in their belief, they start to retreat. The only one who is still fighting is Kalkaka, who screams at his men who are running away. Fight! 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 You coward! With a scream of frustration, Kako looked at the leader of his most hated opponent. He screams and starts running toward Viserys, who is charging at him. Viserys looks at the call, and as he gets near, he swings down his weapon. Kako tries to block his attack, but that is a mistake. He does not prepare for the explosive power of Viserys' swings and does not expect his sword to get broken by his attack easily. The mace hit Kako's head and turned it into a meat paste. Viserys wipes the brain matter off his face and looks at his people butchering the feared Dothraki. After another few minutes, all Dothraki were either dead or managed to get away. With a deep breath, Viserys raises his mace and roars. The others follow. The dragon wins the war against one of the horse lords and shows the world that he still has his fang, even on the ground. Viserys don't know it, but it is the start of the expansion of Solaris Kingdom to the mainland Essos. Chapter 603 POV. The situation in Garlean has settled down. Viserys already tells the others to remake the farm around the city and ensure the village he destroys is rebuilt from the ground up. The progress is rather slow because he decided to use workers from back home rather than building them himself. Melisandre and Willem forbid him from doing it. Building a wall around the town is one thing, but building a village for the commoner to stay in is another. Because of this, Viserys calls a worker from back home and takes care of the villages. Sadly, for the farm to be working, he needs to be the one replacing the dirt because it will not be working if the others are doing it. However, the people in Garlean and workers from Stellaris are the people who dig the hole for Viserys. Not only that, Garlean town also has a proper dock now instead of a small wharf made of planks and sticks. It is now made of stone and proper wood. It is not as big as the one in Stellaris, but it is to be expected. Stellaris is a trade city with 100 ships coming in and going out of the port every day. Viserys wants this town to be a naval base. With Stellaris City as the naval base to protect the south, Garlean town will be the one protecting from the north. The reason? He noticed there were a lot more poachers roaming the southern sea. The merchants that return from Yt report to him, saying they get attacked 24 times, and all the attacks are around the southern part of Volantis. With his people's constant patrol, the pirates that usually sail throughout the narrow sea now make a nest in the sea south of Volantis. Because of this, Viserys decides to put all the navy he has from Stellaris in order to make sure the pirates from the south get taken care of, and the navy from Garlean takes care of the pirates from the north and west. Who is the one from the west? Greyjoy. They might have lost the war against the Iron Throne but still have enough men to be a menace in the sea. Viserys had already received a letter from back home saying that Greyjoy had tried to attack one of the islands near Stellaris but had been beaten by the soldiers on that island and chased by the navy a few hours later. They managed to get away using the favorable wind but lose a good chunk of their men and ships because of their attempted raid against the island. This is why Viserys decided to make a new military dock. Viserys looks at the sea in front of him with a smile on his face. Melisandre, how long do you think until they have enough ships to defend themselves? We already sent a letter to Bravos to help us, and if they arrive on time, a couple of months to 3 months will be sufficient. Sadly, it is not enough for them to train enough sailors. That is right. Another issue they have is manpower. They have enough people but don't have people that can be considered a proper sailor. Combined with the need to train soldiers to patrol the land, Viserys rubs his head because of the headache it causes. He looks at Melisandre and says, "Send a letter back home and make sure they send a group of fresh soldiers here. Their new duty includes patrolling the land and ensuring there is no bandit or notifying the people back in Garlean in case there is any news of Dothraki coming here. Of course, my lord. Also, make sure to send a new batch of soldiers here as part of their training program. The Navy needs their new recruits to patrol the sea, so the soldiers need to patrol the land here." Great idea, my lord. The experience will be good for them. Melisandre nods her head and writes Viserys' idea in her book. Is there anything else I should be worried about before we go home? At the moment, I don't think so. However, I suggest we should wait here for another day in case something comes up. Very well. We will depart tomorrow morning. Viserys will leave 80% of his soldiers here to protect the town while he returns back home. With that many soldiers and the wall around the town, they should be able to defend the town until the reinforcement arrives. While Viserys and the others are busy taking care of Solaris Kingdom's new territory, Jon Arryn has an intense headache. The news of the victory of Solaris Kingdom against a Dothraki horde and how the Garlean city joined the Solaris Kingdom had already reached his ear. Jon looks at Varys and says, "Are you sure about this news, Spider?" "That news is true, my lord." The young dragon soars into the air and tries to turn into a true dragon. Ugh. Jon groans at that confirmation and leans over his chair. "Tell me the situation there. Tell me about the army of the Targaryen. How can they defeat a horde of Dothraki? How many are they?" Viserys Targaryen brought with him only a few hundred men in this fight. "I don't know the details, but there is a lot of weird information going around the small folk of the Garlean city." "What is it?" "It is a rumor that Viserys created a wall around the town in a single night, and what makes the rumor even more outlandish is that the wall is a stone wall. It is at least 7 meters tall and 2 meters thick." Jon looks at him ridiculously and says, "That is nothing but a rumor that exaggerates their new king. Tell me the more important thing." "Yes, my lord. With only a few hundred men, Viserys defeats the Dothraki horde, which numbers a few thousand. As for the way they defeat the Horse Lord, it varies. However, most of them tell me they use all kinds of tricks that work well against the Dothraki." "What is it?" Jon leans over in interest because Dothraki is the people that are hard to fight. "You can hide in your wall, but they will butcher your people and burn all the farms. They might be able to win, but it will cost them a lot of money because only a direct flight can defeat them without losing too much. They do what the Dothraki would have done." "What?" "They burn their farms, they burn the villages, and poison their water supplies. They reject the Dothraki any food by continuing to raid at night and burn their tents. Not only that, they even butcher their horses and burn the meat. It happened for 2 weeks as Viserys and his army tortured the Dothraki before killing them in one final fight." Jon looks at Varys in shock and says, "And why is he willing to do that? Destroying the farm will make it worse in the long run. Do you remember the rumor of that fertilizer potion?" Jon looks at the eunuch in front of him and says, "Don't tell me, It is that potion. There is a rumor the Solaris Kingdom rediscovered the potion that can make the land very fertile. A potion that was lost in the doom of Valyria. With this information, he now has confirmation about that potion. How sure are you with this information? My little bird sees it with their own eyes. The dirt they bring is wet, and when they place it in the ground, the land around it starts to grow plants at a very fast pace. John slowly nods and starts thinking of a way to use that potion. He can finally make the North completely tied to the throne and increase the income of the Iron Throne from the food they can produce and sell. He doesn't want another war, but they need to prepare for another war. Viserys and his kingdom are already a threat worthy of raising an army, but now, with the knowledge of these potions, John knows that he must raise an army for another war. However, with a recent war, he needs a year or two before he can do that. For now, he needs to raise money first. He doesn't know it, but Varys also has the same kind of thinking. Sadly for Jon Arryn, his liege is not Robert.
Another tale fades into the silence. But here, in the fantasy audiobook library, stories never sleep. Subscribe, and return when your heart seeks adventure. We'll be waiting.